Coleman said, you said the Barcola deal is done, just got here. So yeah, just to repeat, what I said was the information that we were told today was that the Barcola deal is all agreed, has been agreed for a while, and PSG are dragging their heels on letting Liverpool go ahead, make the announcement and bring him in. And when I pushed for a reason for it, they said something to do with tax they don't understand. And then they gave me an example of when Gianluigi Donnarumma signed for Manchester City from PSG. That deal was agreed 2 weeks before it was announced, and it got announced on deadline day. Now, I don't know why it took that long, because I wasn't covering the Gianluigi Donnarumma deal at that point, because it's not a Liverpool deal. But apparently, that was done 2 weeks in advance of PSG finally signing off and letting the player sign for City. So maybe that's why Romano keeps saying it'll be done, but it'll be done late. Because from my understanding, and I've never said this to you guys till tonight, I've actually pushed back against people who said, I've been told it's done. I've always said to you, that's not the information that I have. I've been told it will be done. But now I'm being told it is done. It's agreed, everything. From the club to club side, from the player to Liverpool side, all agreed. But the delay is on the PSG side, and nobody seems to know justifiably why, except something about tax. And again, maybe there's somebody that can explain that to me, because I haven't got a clue what it is, nor can I find a justifiable reason for it. And yeah, I could have just not said this to you. It would have been easy for me to just sit on it and just say to you, no, it's going to get done, it's going to get done. But I've always promised you honesty, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm telling you what we've heard from people who I would absolutely be happy to stake my reputation on their word. So after that, you know, it is what it is, and we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But, you know, yeah, I wish I had a better answer for you. Like, I wish I could tell you it's delayed because X and Y, and it's going to happen on Friday, or it's going to happen blah, blah. All I can say to you is, and I'll kind of paraphrase what I'm reading. I'll read the message to some extent because I don't want to give too much away, but one sec. So they've been told, journalists, multiple times, it'll get done any day, and then the rug keeps getting pulled. The deal is agreed on all sides. It's just a case of signing it off. And then I asked, has anybody got the numbers around it? And he said, no, the numbers won't be released until it's signed off by both clubs. And then apparently it's a tax thing. I went and asked a little bit more about it. And then he brought up the Gianluigi Donnarumma thing and said it was agreed 2 weeks before, went through on deadline day. But again, nobody knows why. That's it. Like, that's where I'm at with it. But yeah, I'm open to any comments on it or pushback or thoughts on it. But what I'm not open to is being just called a liar flat out, because I'm not. That's the only part I'll push back on. But again, I'm frustrated because it doesn't make logical sense to me why it would be delayed. It just feels unnecessary. Also, there was talk of PSG tonight looking at another guy as a replacement for Ibrahim Mbaye. Now, I'm not saying this is in any way Liverpool related, because I don't know where we're at with our interest in Ibrahim Mbaye versus the Yankuba Minta stuff. So I really don't know on that. But this report from Tanzaloik says PSG are targeting Adil Hamdani, from Lyon to fill a possible departure of Ibrahim Mbaye. So after that, lads, I don't know. I've never even heard of that young lad, but that's apparently who PSG are looking at if they lose Ibrahim Mbaye. Craig, I feel as if people are getting super harsh on Wirtz. It's only been one game. I agree that he hasn't been good enough, but to write off a player from one game is just insanity. So obviously I can't speak for everybody on it, mate, but I can speak for me. I'm not writing him off, not at all. I think I've probably been one of his biggest defenders, but I think it's fair to say that he has to start delivering this season, as does Isak. I mean, it's very rare I agree with Gary Neville, but I absolutely agree with what he said on his podcast, and I think it's more than fair of him. He said the media, we, have been kind to Wirtz so far, and Isak, and he's not wrong. Like, they haven't been taking cheap shots, they haven't gone in on both of them, but I do think he's right to say that it's time for them to step up. It is, both of them. And yes, some of it is to do with players in and around and movement, but, you know, Wirtz just doesn't look like he's up to the speed mentally. Like, it just feels like everything with him is just a little bit off. A bobble here, a miscontrolled ball there, a slight pass off here. And if you're turning over possession as well, then of course that leads to more pressure on the defence. So the whole thing feels like there's a lot that needs to be fixed. Obviously, as a fan, I want Wirtz and Isak to work. But I got to be honest and say I can understand some of the pushback from people, because that's £250 million, lads. 250 million quid almost on those two. And the fans and the media, and I call out the media for a lot of stuff. You know me, I'm not afraid to call them out. But I think they have been fair with Wirtz and Isak. And I think fans have been fair as well. So as I said, I'm not going to sit here and say he should be sold. I'm nowhere near that. But I do think that he has to step up now. And he has to start to show why we paid the money for him, and so does Isak. Hamoudi said Iriola needs to push for DM or one on loan. So there were a few options that could be looked at in a realistic price point, like Kema Andres that we've spoken about before. But I don't know, mate, why seemingly we're doing very little in that department. I give you my opinion. I think it's because they didn't sell McAllister, but after that, how am I supposed to, as a fan, feel like this club is serious about winning? Because we dropped 2 points yesterday, and you think, okay, surely that's a wake-up call, because we kind of got away with it with the penalty at the end yesterday. You can talk about the game and its totality, totality, that's the one. And I thought a draw was probably a fair result, but we got a penalty late at the end. Szoboszlai took it away brilliantly. It's confusing to me how either the club... I don't even believe the club don't think we need a DM. I just think that's the narrative they're pushing out to justify why it's not happening. But I can't believe serious footballing people look at the team and don't think we need that type of profile of a midfielder. We do. Adam said, with Plettenberg saying we'll sign 2-3 players and 2 of them Barcola and Minta, for me the third should be a right back. Frimpong is just not good enough in a back four. For me, the midfield can be improved with some tactical tweaks. Look, I didn't want to come on and have a pop at Frimpong either, to be honest with you, but I can't push back on it. He played a great game against Como, and we all gave him the credit he deserved for that. But yesterday again, and it wasn't just him, both of our fullbacks were pretty poor yesterday. And the crossing in from the left-hand side in particular was piss poor. And Frimpong just doesn't give us the balance defensively. And I've been somebody who's always said, I don't know why we signed Jeremy Frimpong. And I didn't say it from a point of view of he's just not good enough. We just don't have a natural position for him in the way that we play. And that's been my question mark about why he was signed. It feels like another one of those opportunistic, can fill a couple of roles but isn't a specialist type of signing. It's now looking foolish again. Because if you're playing that and you don't have a natural right back there in Frimpong, and then you have a young right winger ahead of him, it's going to leave space. Naturally, it's going to happen. You might look good in attack with Frimpong and the overlap and stuff, but again, when you're turning over possession, there's a big gap in behind there, and teams just need to plug one in behind and have somebody with the pace of like an Alanga or somebody to get in. It's crazy.